If I were to ask you to picture a man being vulnerable, most of you might picture silence because most men around us don't usually talk about what makes them feel angry, upset, irritated, jealous, insecure openly. They keep it within them. So if you were to ask him directly, what's making you insecure? What are you afraid will happen? He, most often than not, will deflect it, will withdraw from that conversation. And there is a reason to it. And one of the reasons is that as a society, we've trained people to view vulnerability in a man in a negative light. So if a man expresses these things, people around them somehow implicitly start viewing him as less manly, less capable. It's almost as if he is not allowed to have any of these experiences. It's alien to him. So these narratives that go within him, that I'm afraid to be lonely, I'm not sure where my future is headed, I'm insecure about this thing within myself, I don't think I'm as good enough as the people around him. These wounds, these thoughts are somehow kept inside of him and they're never really spoken about. He never really expresses it because in some ways he's associated all of these things with being dysfunctional as incapable, right? Not expressing it doesn't mean the man stops experiencing it. He somehow just bottles it up or, pushes it within him, starts suppressing it. But that's the thing. When you keep bottling up and suppressing these important feelings, they show up in other ways, unhelpful ways. So it can come out as anger outbursts, it can come out as overworking, it can come out as emotional numbness, and sometimes even emotional withdrawal. He might deflect it with humor, but it still pinches him, it still hurts him. If there's a 50-year-old man in front of me and if I were to ask him, what is the wounded child in you feeling? What is the child in you that's struggling feeling? Because you may be 50, you may be 40, you may be 37, but all of us have a 10-year-old within us, 5-year-old within us, 15-year-old within us, a wounded child. If we use that metaphor and ask the man, what is the wounded child in you feeling? He might give you an answer because somehow it becomes accessible. Because children are allowed to feel afraid, insecure, lonely. And as you grow up, when you become a man, it's almost as if he's supposed to be immune to these experiences. So instead of asking, are you afraid you're bearing a loss? You can ask him, what is the wounded child in you feeling? He might be able to access it much better because society gives permission for children to be vulnerable, for children to voice out what they're experiencing, but not with a full grown adult. And isn't that such a flaw? It's almost as if these needs, these vulnerabilities disappear when you become a man. If only that was the case. Now, if there's one thing that I want you to understand about therapy is that you cannot heal something that's not named. You cannot heal something that's not experienced consciously in the presence of another human being. So, for example, if there's a man who feels insecure about himself, it's important for him to have a space with one or two people with whom he can express these fears. Because naming it, experiencing it, and expressing it in the presence of another human being gives him the opportunity to heal it, to become a better version of himself.